Is that me? You want me to go?
Yeah, if you want to. Do you want me to pull up the agenda, or do you have it?
No, I have it.
Okay. Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Okay, pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, general law, chapter 30A, paragraph 18, and the governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Wilmington Planning Board is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. Members of the public who would like to participate in the meeting via Zoom can do so by going to this link. Members of the public who would like to listen to this meeting while in progress may also do so via telephone by dialing 1-646-558-8656 and enter meeting ID 841-1654-8344. Then press pound and then press pound again at the next voice prompt. Members of the public attending this meeting virtually will be allowed to comment by following the steps previously noted, then press *9 on their telephone keypad or using the raise hand function on Zoom. This will notify the meeting host that the caller wishes to speak. In the event that despite our best efforts, we are not able to provide for real-time access, we will post a record of this meeting on the town's website as soon as we are able. Okay. What would you like to do? Minutes, or if we don't have any Form As, right?
We don't. If you could do a quick roll call, that would be great.
Oh, okay. Angela, are you here?
Here.
Terry?
Here.
Sean?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
There you go. Rondi?
Present.
Chairman's present. How about the minutes? Anybody read the minutes?
I read them. I didn't see anything.
Okay. Take the minutes, accept the minutes as drafted.
So moved. Second.
All right. All in favor? Angela?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Rondi?
Yes.
Sean?
Yes.
Chairman votes yes. Way to go, Cheryl. Got a minute till our next one. I just want everyone to know that I had a long day at work today. A little grumpy. I haven't eaten. My neck is sore from working on this table here. So keep me in order. No one got hit by a tree today, I hope. There was a tree down in Wilmington, they said on the news.
Nope, no, I thought for sure I'd have lost half of my trees.
Yeah.
I did have trouble getting in our building downtown though. The wind was blowing so hard, I couldn't even open the door.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
When I finally got it open, it squished, it practically closed on me, so.
I remember those days. All right, we have a 7:35, a public hearing, site plan review number 21-02 and stormwater management permit 21-02 for 269 Main Street, map 43, parcel 4C. Michael Kaufman for Wilmington Maine Realty LP. Who's up?
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Ben Hartley. I work for Wilmington Maine Realty LP. Also here tonight is Michael Kaufman from our organization and Jonathan Kaufman, as well as Philip Henry, our civil engineer from Civil Design Group. We are here tonight to request the board's permission to reconfigure the Starbucks drive-through. When we first built this plaza, the drive-through on a Starbucks was a new idea, and they weren't really expecting to have many cars queuing. As the years have gone by, and certainly with this epidemic, the use of the drive-through has exploded. And on our site, the queue storage is not sufficient, and it overflows into the drive aisle and blocks access to the bank. So our plan is to relocate the drive-through around the back of the bank, the southerly property line. This will provide significantly more queue storage and get it away from the bank's parking spaces and access to their drive-through. We can pull up the plan or answer any questions you may have.
Al, you want to put up the plan so we can kind of walk through this, what it is and what we're changing to?
I can do that, or if the engineer wants to pull up his screen so that he can walk through it, that.
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay. Okay, can everybody see this screen?
Yeah.
Okay. For the record, my name is Philip Henry with Civil Design Group. We're the civil engineers on the project. So as previously stated, the existing condition, and just to orient everyone, Main Street's at the top of the page. The Starbucks and the Verizon building is here.
Oh, okay.
And here's the bank. So north is actually facing left, so to speak. The current condition of the drive-through, of this Starbucks drive-through window, which is right here, circulates in front of the bank and in between the two buildings, thereby during peak hours, the drive-through actually backs up into front of the accessible spaces of the bank. So over the past few months, we've been working with the town to relocate that drive-through to circulate around the south end of the bank, as you could see here with the vehicle queues. So, and we think overall that results in a better maneuvering. It reduces conflict points. It maintains access throughout this section of the plaza. The trade-off is that there were 9 spaces back here that were for employee or just some extra accessory spaces. As a result of maintaining a lane around the drive-through, mainly for fire access, those spaces were eliminated. We are showing 3 spaces back towards where the drive-through currently is. So we're currently showing a net loss of 6 spaces, which still yields sufficient parking as you look at the plaza as a whole. With that being said, we are looking at, through our meeting last week with town staff, we are looking at reducing these down to 2 and perhaps relocating them, shifting them back a little bit. What you see here in gray, so to speak, is the anticipated limit of work area in terms of removal of asphalt and replacement of asphalt. It's about 7,000 square feet. So it's a pretty small area. In terms of the drainage, we are maintaining the micro watersheds, if you will, to the inlets. And both inlets are going into the same proprietary separator before connecting into Main Street. And we are showing a reduction of impervious area, although be it minor, there's a reduction. So we had discussions with Mr. Aluni. There's some follow-up things that we have to do, and we received a letter both from him as well as the planning department. And we feel like all items are addressable. We wanted to get through this hearing tonight before resubmitting a full set of plans. So that's the general overview. I'm happy to get into any more specifics, but in general, the goal is to relocate that drive-through along the south end of the bank.
All right, so walk me through. How do I get into the queue and how do I exit?
So you have to enter the queue through this access right here.
So
Okay.
I'm coming down along here, coming in, or am
Yep.
I going all the way around and up?
No, you're coming in through the shared access drive, and then you're
Okay,
bearing a left. Or
Mhm.
if you're already in the plaza, you're traversing through, I'll call it this main
Yep.
internal intersection and getting into the queue here. So you can keep in mind that you could also enter into the bank queue as well, which is this inner lane here that then dovetails into the ATM, which is their outside lane, or their window, which is their inside lane. So if you look here, these 4 arrows signify four passable lanes, actually. The first 2 are the bank. The third one is the Starbucks relocated, which is why we're before you. And then the fourth one, or the outside one, which is the
so how do I prevent someone cutting across in that fourth lane, the cutting line? Is there no access from here? What's
So
right here?
Yeah, that's a good question. So this plan has evolved and devolved over
Sure.
the past few months, and at one point we had this as a closed off access way. However, in discussions with fire, they were requiring us to maintain that. So the way we're going to try to encourage folks to not cut the line is through some signage which needs to be modified, which was a result of our discussion with town staff last week.
All right, so how am I exiting? I get my coffee and how am I exiting?
Yep. So you get your coffee and you are then exiting. There's an existing curb cut, which, by the way, we are not proposing any improvements at or near the right of way. As I indicated, the limits of improvement are really internal to the site. But essentially, after you leave the Starbucks, you can access or exit the site the same way you do today, via this right out onto Main Street, or circle back, go through the signalized access and go north on Main Street.
So at peak time, how many cars do I have in the queue?
12.
What you have shown there is peak
Yeah.
time? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Is that correct?
Yes, 12. Yep.
How many cars were at peak time with the other arrangement?
Well, based on feedback from the tenants and the client, Ben, I would say it encroached all the way back to the accessible parking spaces, which was the genesis of this modification. So I would say, just, I guess, anecdotally looking at it, it's probably very similar to what we're showing here.
Right. And I mean, obviously, it seems to me like this is a better situation with traffic flow anyway. So people from the bank can circle through and then out where they came in, sort of situation.
That's right.
But I've seen it also where, obviously when you go back to that main entranceway, it's pretty much backed up that way as well, where
Yeah,
some people wouldn't be able to access anything in that situation. And
right.
I mean, it's a tough location for that type of situation anyway.
What's on the other side here? We got Starbucks, the bank, and then what's in here? I
Where?
know you can't see what I'm showing, but
That's Starbucks.
southerly of the bank, if you will. If we say Main Street's north, and yeah, what's
That's
going
a-
back
that's-
towards the Savers?
That's an
right?
auto dealer next door.
Oh,
and
that
this is
right there.
parking-
Yeah, what's there?
This is
That's just
parking lot.
parking, right?
Parking lot for the plaza.
So if we had overflow of the 12 cars, it would have to kind of back in there, right? So we weren't blocking.
Mhm.
So I guess the question would be, what's the signage out there to direct people to where the flow should be going?
Yep. So there's going to be, we're going to rotate this sign to face north, if you will. So anyone coming through here, either if someone's coming through here, it's most likely they were at the plaza to begin with, parked somewhere, and then they're either exiting here. So there's going to be arrows pointing them this way. There'll be a receiving drive-through sign right here, which is shown pointing just left to start here.
Okay.
There'll also be, we're also going to relocate the bank drive-through sign closer up here. So as you're entering this curb cut, the hope is to clearly identify which lane is for which. And then we're also in speaking with town staff last week, we're going to be moving this clearance bar, which is the bar that's over the vehicle, so that
Right.
folks can tell if their vehicle's too large before it actually hits the canopy. We're actually going to be relocating that to this area here because the bank drive-through clearance is much higher. So we thought, as opposed to providing a bar that spans across the drive-through, which we had spoken at the technical review meeting, we're just going to simply relocate it after this divider island to avoid any confusion.
So Val, the reduction of parking spaces, that's still okay? They still meet requirement?
It looks that way. We've asked them for a breakdown of the parking for the plaza by the tenant so that we can just confirm how those tenants were classified as.
So in the reality, all these parking, in reality, all these parking spaces we have over here, they don't really use them? Is that right, Ben?
You're referring to the spaces that are being,
Yeah, opposite Main Street and then opposite the entranceway are those really used?
Phil, can you scroll? I'm sorry, you are referring to the ones that are being eliminated?
No,
In
I'm
that-
referring to everything like up there,
Yeah,
yeah,
those
right,
are
where you're
used.
showing all those. Are those all used? I mean,
Yeah,
do people actually go into Starbucks now or what?
yes, though, there is a good amount of cars along those two, in front of the Starbucks and in front of the bank. The spaces that we're losing are behind the bank and
Yeah.
not being used at all.
Okay.
And if I can interject, Mike, I think that obviously this is a better setup, I believe, anyway, because if you were to go their old route, you're blocking a number of people that used to be parking on the side from
Yeah.
backing up and getting out.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's basically the whole reason why we're here. The bank has been complaining to us about the infringement of the drive-through queue on its customers.
Right. And also there's a Verizon or something of the like on the top corner as well.
Correct.
So
Oh, right. Okay, so that they may need some of those, they would need those spaces. That's
and I
not a
have to say the parking spots up on top where Main Street is and where you're coming in on the entryway, those are pretty much filled.
Okay. Just you got a lot going on there where you're coming in. There's a lot going on there. You're coming out, you're going in. That's
Can I ask a
busy.
quick question? Mike?
Yeah.
So, over the summer, I saw it a couple of times where it was obviously it was like wrapped around, out in front of like Savers in advance, and then even back down and past the
right.
Casablanca is, right? So did that only happen because the store was actually not open to?
It was actually a combination. It was
Like,
actually,
what happens when that, like, what's the protocol when that happens, right? I'm trying to figure out what caused that, how many times it happened, if it was just a fluke. I mean, I'm just curious is what's the protocol for when we do go beyond 12,
as far as I understand, Starbucks ran a promotion to give free coffee out to first responders during the height of the pandemic or the beginning of the pandemic. And so I think any Starbucks that had a drive-through were inundated on those days.
Gotcha.
And when it got really bad, we wound up asking the Wilmington police to help us with a police detail.
Yeah, I was there on one day when that was happening. So that's kind of what I was asking about. When does that happen? When does that get called? But I guess that was more of a special case because I haven't seen it very often.
Yeah, free coffee for first responders was
Gotcha.
popular.
All right. That was all I had. Sean asked my other questions.
You got anything you want to go over, Val?
No, we gave them our comments, some signage, circulation, types of things at the community development technical meeting. So they have those.
So they had somebody traffic-wise look at this?
They did. We asked them to give us an analysis, and we received that. That's in your packet from VAI.
Are we good with this? Do we need someone else, buddies at Green or someone to look at it? Are we okay? Paul, okay with this?
Paul's okay with it. I think we feel pretty good about it. So we wouldn't recommend peer review of any kind.
Okay.
Mike, I'm not sure if this was already asked, so I apologize for the redundancy, but if you're going to the bank, you're obviously circling all the way back around to come in or to leave actually where you came from, or you're circling around to go out that sort of fourth exit area where you would for Starbucks anyway, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that. I think if you're going through the bank, you should have to come back out and go around. I don't think you should, if you're coming around the bank, I don't think you should take a right and then a right. You're going to be crossing the other cars leaving if someone coming in.
I misunderstood. No, we are, the intention is for someone from the bank not to cut here. I thought in order to get out here, everybody exits and stops here and then goes out this way.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's no crossing of that at all.
But it's just striping though, right?
It's just striping for ease of dumpster, but and fire and access. But there's signage here that is encouraging folks to turn left.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is obviously better than what they have, but there are a couple of places where you can't actually put a physical barrier. You kind of have to trust in some striping or some signage, right? I touched on a couple of them, so not really sure. I'm looking at it going, I'm not really sure what you do. Not really sure what you do to make that better.
How have we done historically? Has there been any accidents in your parking lot?
Not that I
don't
recall.
I don't think accidents. It's more just the inconvenience that the current situation is causing the bank.
So we got a lot going on there. So we squeezed a lot in there. We got 3 different businesses in the same area. So although they are a little bit different in what they do, obviously Starbucks is still making a weekend thing and the bank's probably closed, but you got a lot going on there. So it seems like it's a better idea.
Yeah, I think signage will be key though.
Yeah. And people getting used to it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Just that we got a lot of cross traffic possibilities here. So we need to make sure this is think maybe in the end, once we get it in and you work on it a little bit, we'll probably have to, if we have to make a little bit of an adjustment, we can do that gentlemanly, work with you to make sure everything's working right. Anybody else got any questions? Ron, do you okay?
Yeah, I've seen this backup in front of Starbucks and in front of the bank every Saturday morning for several years now.
Yeah. Angela, you okay?
Yeah, I think it's much better than what they currently have, so.
Okay. All right, so you want to continue this and you guys can answer the questions. Actually, you could do one more thing for me, Phil. Put up that last sheet you got with all the colored patterns in. You try to explain that to me.
This one
Yeah, the
Nope.
parking calc. I think you were
Keep
going there for
going.
the parking calc.
right here.
No, go to the sheet. You got all these, is it your sheet? I don't know. Maybe it's the traffic guy's sheet.
Yeah, does it say Vanessa on it? Or
Yeah, it's probably that sheet.
would you like me to bring that up?
It says fire access plane exhibit 1.
Oh, that one. Okay. That's us. Let's see here. This one, Mr. Chairman?
Yes. All right, so what do we got here? Just showing me all the different patterns I have here. What do we got going on here?
Yes. So in working with the deputy chief, he wanted to see the anticipated truck route.
Okay.
So basically what you're seeing here is a Wilmington, the largest Wilmington fire apparatus, which is their ladder truck. It's coming in, making a left and circulating the site counterclockwise and then making this turn out. The different colors represent either the tread marks versus the outer apparatus envelope in red. So he was satisfied with this, but we had to show him this, and which is why mainly this curb cut has been maintained as existing to remain.
Okay.
It looks like the corner where you're coming up to Starbucks looks like you're hitting half that building unless that's taken out.
No, we're not hitting it. So this is an aerial overlay on the survey as best fit we could. So it's not hitting it, and it is tight. But this is a part of the site that we're not touching. So
So there, that corner.
right here.
Yes.
Yeah, this little island's coming out.
Okay. Sorry.
Good.
I thought you meant the building.
Yeah, it did look like that. Yeah, I know. That's good. All right. 7:35. Val,
Sure.
on what day?
It is April 6th.
Yeah, good. Phil, you'll have everything answered by then?
Yeah, April 6th. Okay. When Val, when would you like to have everything in before? We're not going to drag our feet, but I just want to. What's your timeline in terms of receiving everything?
We typically ask for things 2 weeks in advance. So that would be the 23rd.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, so 3 weeks from today.
So we're going to continue the public hearing to, you said April 6th, is that what you said?
Yes.
At 7:30.
So moved.
Second.
Angela,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes, sir.
Rondi,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Chairman votes yes. Okay, we'll see you then.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I'm sorry, was that for 7 o'clock or 7:30 or 7:35 at the April meeting?
7:30, take them right away.
Okay.
Valerie, could I ask a quick question I meant to ask? We have a zoning board because we have to amend the special permit.
Mhm.
And I understand they typically look for a planning board recommendation. Should I be postponing that zoning board out? Will they make, or is that something I need to work out the building department?
Yeah, you'll want to talk to them. It's really kind of up to you if you want to present your project, but acknowledge that you're not through the planning board process yet. One thing that you could do just to kind of explain what's happening, but it's really up to you. You could do that, or you could ask to put it off, but they typically do like to have,
The recommendation, yeah.
sure.
Okay. Okay.
If you do go ahead to them, you could tell them that the planning board's looking favorable. It's just a matter of answering their comments. How's that?
Okay.
You can use my name if you want.
I will. All right. Thank you, everyone, very much. And we'll see
Thank
you
you.
in April.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Is that okay, Val? I didn't mean to violate any rules.
No, that's good. That's fine. We'll get to the recommendation later on the agenda anyway, so.
All right, so we got a 7:50 public hearing. Site plan review 21-03, stormwater management permit 21-03 for 100-110 Fordham Road, map 91, parcel 121. Who's up?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, good evening. From the record, my name is Jeff Merritt. I'm an engineer with Granite Engineering. We are the civil site engineers for this project. I'm gonna share the screen with you. One moment. What we have for the board this evening is a site plan application and an associated stormwater management permit. Both applications are relative to the property at 100-110 Fordham Road. I think, Mr. Chairman, I know you and some other board members will likely recall this property. We were here last year in 2020 for a major site plan which reworked a lot of the paved surface areas on the site, as well as the area around what we call Building D, this building right here. And that project was specifically done for the end tenant of Building D, which is Amazon. And so that project was approved by the board, and then it was subsequently built during the last construction season, and it's complete at this point. What we're back for this evening and is a small amendment to that plan. And it involves Building D, this building right here. If I zoom in for you, if you remember that prior project, the way the circulation works out there is the Amazon delivery vans come around the building like this. They stage here. They wait for their loading right here. And then you can see these rectangular areas right in through here. This is the loading zone for the vans. So the vans come into this area, they stop in their designated spot. And then there are a series of overhead doors along this face of the building, which allow the product to be wheeled out and into the vans. And so what's going on right now is that's how it's operating today, but it's operating in such a way that there's no canopy over those vehicles. And so what the tenant D would like to do, what Amazon would like, was they would like to have a canopy over that exterior loading area. And obviously that comes in handy in the winter, when it's raining, and all kinds of New England weather. So the proposal is to add a canopy, and it's defined on this plan by this thick dash line. It spans and covers all of the existing loading area. Because it covers existing pavement or concrete, we actually aren't adding any impervious area to the project. It's simply a roof over what is either pavement or concrete today. In terms of stormwater, if you remember the last project, there was a significant improvement made to the site wide, if you will, in terms of stormwater management. In the area of the loading, there's a subsurface filtration system that was constructed as part of the 2020 project. And so that roof or that canopy that we're proposing would tie directly into that filtration system. That's the scope of the project. We're not proposing any change of the use or any other expansions on site here. It's simply an amendment to provide a canopy over what is existing loading today. Certainly be happy to answer any questions that the board has this evening.
Did you resolve the issue with the fire truck?
We talked at length with the fire department during the technical review meeting. There is a pinch point right here that the fire department is concerned with. We did run a template through that, but they are still concerned with the tightness of it. So at the technical review meeting, we agreed to go back and take a look and see if we can find a way to make this corner here less tight, if you will. So we're going to work on that between now and the next meeting.
Are those parking spaces up there? Do we need all these spaces?
These are van parking spaces right here. So it's kind of a delicate balance of trying to preserve the parking, which is already part of the lease, and obviously addressing the life safety concerns that the fire department has. But we'll come up with a solution. We're committed to that.
Is the area down the bottom left of the canopy there, is that not a pinch point too? That's okay?
So this area, we did not show a circulation through. It was our understanding that it was this area that was concerned. But the fire department did ask us to show a simulation through here. I think that this area, once we show the simulation to the fire department, I think they're going to be okay with that. These are large 30-foot aisles. They're quite expansive, and it's a one-way circulation. So there's 30 feet of asphalt out there to make a maneuver. It's wider than probably Fordham Road. It's this point right here where it's fairly narrow, and then it makes basically a switchback, if you will. You do 190 and then a reverse 90. So this was really the pinch point. What will likely happen is we'll probably lose a space or two here so that we can kind of cut the corner so that we don't have to do a hard turn right or left.
So refresh my memory. Is this a 24-hour operation here or not?
I don't think they load 24 hours here, but I would have to get back to you, Mr. Chairman, to see if there's someone or if there's a group in the building 24 hours, but I don't think they load 24 hours.
Okay. The vans aren't parked there overnight, right?
So the vans park in the designated striped areas here.
Okay, so that's why you're saying you need all the spaces. Gotcha.
Yeah, and then if you remember, that van parking actually is over in this area as well.
Right.
And then there's some here along Fordham Road and a little bit right here. So it's spread throughout the park, but the bulk parking, bulk storage for the vans is in this area over here. But there is some fringe area adjacent to the loading.
What's the canopy going to be? Is it going to be, we got columns and what?
Yes. Let me see if I can get this up here.
I assume you're going to meet wind load, snow load. It's pretty windy days, a couple of days here, so.
That's a fact. Yes, we have to meet building code, that's for sure. This is a cross section of it. It is not as tall as the existing building. So existing building's up here, right? It's this top line. And then our canopy is much lower than that. So the canopy eve, we're 21 feet, whereas the parapet on the building's roughly 36. So we have a 14-foot 6 clear. You can see the columns here. They have concrete piers that extend above the pavement there, and then a column above that. It does have to be sprinkled. That came up at the technical review meeting. We did check with the architect. The intent is to do a sprinkler system out here, a dry sprinkler system, but a pretty standard canopy, if you will. And it's
So is the drainage, how's the drainage go?
Yeah. So it pitches from this point all the way this direction. And then there is an internal roof drain, which picks up the roof runoff, and it's piped to downspouts along the canopy or along canopy columns. And then from there, it is, if it's this plan, yeah. It's a little hard to see, but from there, there's a stormwater trunk line that runs right through here. And so those gutters, those downspout gutters from the canopy connect directly into that trunk line. You can see it here, here, and then here, and here. So there's 4 downspouts, hits a trunk line, and then it's directed into that filtration system that was previously constructed.
Okay. Anybody got any questions?
I have questions on how the actual loading bays under the canopy work, because it looks like they're just oversized bays so they can be back to back in space to pull out from the middle out to the driveway if they're done loading up and they're inboard of the canopy.
Yeah, so this, you can see this rectangle right here. This is a typical loading space. So the van is not as long as this loading space. If you compare, for example, this space over here, it's a 27-foot space, which is a typical van parking space. So the van would be about right in through here. And then there's a gap right in through here where they're able to do the loading and unloading. So that's when the carts come out, they'll load it and unload it there. And then the way they dispatch this is in a controlled fashion, and it's dispatched in blocks. So you're not going to get this guy in the middle here, backing out and coming around. You're going to get this whole pod, if you will, being loaded and then discharged at the same time.
Okay. So the only other concern, when you talked about the lower end of the canopy at the bottom and a turning radius for a fire truck, have you given some thought at that not having the column bay at the very end of the canopy, but inboard, say 10 feet, that would give you 40 feet? Should a fire truck need to get by, he's not, the ladder truck's pretty big, so even 30 feet sometimes is difficult for the ladder truck to make that turn. You know what I'm saying? Do you have a cantilever on the end canopy?
Yeah, so if there was a column here, so
No, I'm not saying there. The end columns at the top and the bottom, if you inboard them like 4 feet from the end of the canopy has a cantilever. And that your columns inboard a little bit, that still gives you a little turning radius not to hit the wall. I mean, the column.
Like over here, put it here? Is that what you're saying?
And then I'm talking about really the bottom one. It just gives you a little bit more space for the turn by the fire truck, should they get very close to hitting the curb or the building in front of them to make that L turn. That's all.
Yeah, and honestly, we haven't explored that. I think the most direct probably solution here is, instead of making this turn that we're showing here, and doing this 90 and 90 like this, we would endeavor to do something that's more like this, where we can cut the angle. And I think that's what the chief was after, is that these spaces right here, if we lose a few spaces, that's going to really open up this area. So it's more of a straight shot as opposed to a 90 and then another 90, which was his concern.
I was more concerned on the other end.
On this
end in the building, even though you say that's 30 feet, that's a true 90 and 90. And if you pull back the columns like 8 feet or 10 feet and have a cantilever from those two columns on the corner, you get another 10 feet and 30 feet.
Right.
Should you need to make a turn.
Right. And it's something we'll have to look at. Like I said, we're going to work through the circulation there. I think we haven't run this circulation here, but I think we can do something that will make the chief happy here, but I hear what you're saying. I know what you're saying there. If this column moved back here, we could cut the corner.
Yeah, and still be under the canopy with the truck.
Sure. All right. So Paul didn't really have too many comments. You had a few, Val?
Yeah, just some minor comments. I think the main thing is the fire access.
All right. So we want to do the same thing. We put them on around 7:50 on the 6th.
That sounds good. Or 7:45 even.
Yeah, why don't we do that? I'll take a motion to continue the public hearing to 7:45 on April 6th.
So moved?
Second.
Okay, Angela,
Yes.
Sean,
Sure.
Terry,
Yes.
Rondi,
Yes,
I say yes. Okay, we're good. All right, thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.
So what do you want to do? Board of Appeal? Sierra has something to do with this meeting?
Yep, you guys want to do Board of
There you
Appeals?
go.
We can do that.
There you go. We were just seeing if you were paying attention.
I'm just over here sleeping with my eyes open.
There you go.
The first one is at 129 Aldrich Road. It's for a special permit for a groundwater protection district. Looking to install a 14 by 28 in-ground pool. The proposed impervious area is almost 3,800 square feet or 19.6% of the lot. They're not proposing any new infiltration, but the engineering division reviewed it. The existing infiltration system is sufficient has sufficient capacity to mitigate the excess impervious area. So according to engineering, I mean, they should be all set.
Sounds good.
Okay. And then the second one is the Starbucks one. It's just to increase the queue capacity. They were originally allowed for 8 cars, so they're just amending their previous special permit. So,
Sean, I'm going on your word that this is better. So now
I mean,
I'm not a customer, so I'm going on your word. So
it looks better, but I think it has the same number of cars that gets it kicked back, so I'll leave it at that.
as long as Val's comfortable with the 12 cars at peak time, I guess is the key, I guess.
Well, I think
16.
normally, having used the line, you can comfortably fit probably 5, maybe 6 cars without impeding on other people's circulation. If in this one you can get double that, I think it's a real improvement. So where it's not, it is a tight spot in there, but I think it's definitely an improvement.
Okay. You want to do new business?
Wait, do you guys want to wait until you approve the site plan to give a recommendation for Starbucks? Or do you want to give a positive recommendation on the general concept and you're working out the details of site plan?
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
Okay.
No sense in making them wait. I mean,
Yeah, their meeting's tomorrow, right? The hearing for zoning?
I think it's next week.
Oh, okay.
yeah, so
And then before we go too much further, I think we booked 7:30 next meeting. I think we have U-Haul coming back at 7:30. They weren't on tonight's agenda. They were on last time and they skipped tonight. So we'll bump Starbucks maybe to 7:35 if that's okay. All right. And then there's folks here for the 200 Ballardville Street waiver.
Request to waive site plan review, 21-01, 200 Ballardville Street. Okay, what do we got? Are you, you're not
Hello.
waiting? Oh, there you go. Okay,
Hi, my name is Donna Panino. I'm with Griffith Properties. Also on the call are Marcy Lober, the managing principal of Griffith Properties, and Chris McCarthy of High Point Engineering. We recently signed a 73,000 square foot tenant filling a large block of vacant space at 200 Ballardville. And are here to, the reason why we're here is for a waiver of site plan review to install a dedicated tenant entrance at 200 Ballardville.
oh, okay. Rhonda, did you look at the entrance?
I'm looking at the plans now. I got where it's gonna be, I think.
It looked okay to me, but I was gonna defer to you.
All right, well, let me get to the right sheet. What plan sheet in this set?
Mike, do you want her to pull it up so we can take a look?
Sure.
Well, see the elevation, it's just a little simple canopy on the side of the building. It's just a rendering, that's, looks fine. I mean, it's a fairly nondescript building that doesn't have a lot of, major parts. Whoops. Oh, well, I just lost my Zoom account. So I'm done.
What do we got here?
So, Mr. Chairman, the entrance is on this side of the building facing 90.
93. Yeah.
And you can see there's a little bit of new pavement here for the entrance. They're doing 2 ADA spaces here with striping, making up for it over here with taking away some striping for parking. And then their decrease in open space, they're making up by removing a walkway kind of here in the middle courtyard of the building. They describe it as there used to be a door here, but there's not anymore. So the walkway sort of goes to just a dead end wall. So they'll be removing that to have an actual increase, a slight increase in open space.
Okay,
I think it's fine.
it looks good.
Yeah.
Anybody got any
Very
questions? Sean, you okay?
Well, I'm just trying to, and I just might be losing my mind, but the entranceway is towards 93, correct?
Correct.
I mean, it's a very large building. You
Yep,
need more than one entrance anyway.
125 is over here on the right, Ballardville Street on the top. So they come in through Ballardvale, kind of come down this center entrance through the parking lot, and their entrance would be down here.
So it's an employee entrance?
Dedicated employee entrance. The
Yep.
tenant will be the entire first floor of that building and a good portion of the second floor.
So I guess what I was saying, it's not a public entrance, right? It's dedicated to the employee entrance, right? Okay. Okay.
Is there gonna be new lighting out there then?
There will most likely be either bollards or lighting on the canopy. But the existing site lighting is sufficient.
Oh, yeah.
We're not adding any signage or anything?
There's a rendering, if you wouldn't mind bringing it up, there is a small sign next to the door.
Okay.
We've advised them that signage would have to be through a separate permit and it's meet the bylaw requirements, or they would need to come get a special permit.
Okay, so if they wanted to put something up on the building, they'd have to do that separately.
Yeah.
Is Osram still a tenant over there?
Yes,
Okay. This isn't for them, is it? Or is it for somebody else?
that was a new tenant that we signed a lease for that's moving from North Reading.
Oh, okay.
Anybody good?
I think Val, did you say there's other people in the waiting area that have comments or no?
No, I don't have anybody else in the meeting right now.
Matt, you okay, Sean?
Yeah.
Angela,
Good.
Terry,
Great.
Rondi?
Yep,
All
good.
right, I'm good. So I'll take a motion to waive site plan review.
So
Thank
moved.
you.
Second.
Angela,
Good. Thank you.
Sean,
Sir?
Rondi,
Yes,
Terry,
Yes.
chairman votes yes. Okay, you're all set.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What do you want to do next, Val? Housing
Yep.
choice legislation?
Yeah, I can go over it really quick. There was legislation passed last month, or actually in January, I think it was, and made some changes to the zoning act. And I am going to pull up this PowerPoint for you just to go over my notes on this really quick. We gave you a sort of a summary from KP Law, and that's a really good overview of what the changes are. But basically, there's three main things. They made changes to zoning changes. All had to be by 2/3 vote at town meeting. They changed it so that certain things can be done by simple majority vote at town meeting. And there's a list of things there. Some of the things that, that'll be of interest to us is just establishing sort of multifamily housing as of right, accessory dwellings. We already have those. Open space residential development. We already have that. We don't call it that, but we have it. But so as of right things, increases in density, transfer of development rights, a whole list of things. They also changed special permits. Certain special permits that you grant no longer have to be by 2/3. It can be a simple majority. And some of these things are a little bit up for interpretation. Multifamily within a half mile of transit, if there's an affordable component, and this is really kind of simplified. There's more to it. The affordable units have to be, certain things, which is all outlined in the legislation. Mixed use in commercial centers, if affordables are provided, reduced parking for residential if it provides additional housing. So there's a lot of kind of qualifiers there. The other thing, go ahead.
So that said, if additional housing, not additional affordable housing on the last one, to reduce parking.
Right, so if the parking reduction is to get additional housing in the development.
Okay.
Yeah. And like I said, these are really, really oversimplified. So we'll have to dig into the details as things come up.
Does it affect anything coming up at town meeting?
I don't think so.
So-
Go ahead.
Okay. No, go ahead. I was just gonna say, we rezoned Bailey Street or something, right? Didn't we?
Yeah, so that's the one, Mozart, Bailey, and Marietta, that area, we are increasing the density, but we're not providing for additional housing. So I'm not sure that I'll have to check in with council to see what they think about that.
So will that still needed? So we need to know if that needs 2/3 or if it's a majority. Right.
Right. That's right. Yep. I don't think there's anything else though that would fall into this category.
Are we gonna have to adjust our zoning bylaws or?
So that's the next thing. This legislation for all MBTA communities, which we are one, we have to have an as of right multifamily zoning district in town within a half mile of transit. So one of our commuter rail stops with a minimum gross density of 15 units per acre. And, they have to be suitable for children and with no age restrictions. This one, DHCD is going to be giving us more guidance on what this looks like and how we, when we need to comply and sort of more details. But as of now, they're saying that, they're saying that everyone's in compliance until they come out with more guidance.
What's the definition of multifamily? So we already have buildings within a half mile to the transit, right? So those condos, is that considered multifamily, or are we talking about a two-family house? What are we talking about?
I think they defined it, and I thought it was 3 or more,
Okay,
but I have to look at that again.
Isn't that all special permit though, still?
All of our multifamily is special permit, so that would be the big change.
That's the change.
so this will change that, right?
Yeah, we'll have to have an as of right multifamily, where you don't need a special permit for family. And
But it's gonna get complicated.
so it's either going to be at the main train station or North Wilmington train station, because those are our 2 transit stops. And
Which they're doing the North Wilmington train station over, right?
yeah, they're gonna do a new platform, and they're gonna shift it, north, so that the idea is that it doesn't hold up the traffic when it stops. Yeah. So this is something we're gonna have to look at over the next year to get to town meeting next year.
So with a lot of those old buildings in North Wilmington, we're gonna have to rezone that area, maybe? Let's start thinking about it.
We could. I think it's something that we should all start thinking about,
All right, you should do that, but you should do it like in June of 2022.
I wonder why.
When you have 2 new board members, right, Randy?
Yeah, right. Well, don't we already though at the North Wilmington train station have a multifamily mixed use housing development?
I don't know. I don't remember. I think we got defeated on the overlay district and a couple of times. I don't remember. I have a headache thinking about it, but
Yeah, well, but don't we have something on the boards right now at I forget what it's called there, the access?
We have a friendly 40B development that's going in. But we
Yeah,
have a zoning district that has as of right multifamily.
no,
we have-
but it will be
we have the-
multifamily.
We have the central business district, which is at the other train station that could turn into a multifamily, as of right multifamily. That would be one of the options, or to create a new district in North Wilmington. Just kind of start thinking about that, because we'll need to get something going. Nothing's going to make this meeting, but next year I think would be the goal.
Well, I was gonna say, the only real space available for family development there would be to take over Starbucks. I'm not Starbucks, Sweethearts, Plastic, whatever that industrial whole complex is by the train station.
Yeah, you could imagine though, the corner, the 62 Main Street corner being redone, actually both corners there.
what about Textron? I mean, who knows what's gonna go there, right?
Yeah, I think that's a little far out for this though.
Yeah.
But, so this is something that we're gonna start, working on, and we'd love to, your brain starting to think about it, because I think that'll be the first thing. Do we focus on North Wilmington? Do we focus on around the main station?
I'm also really curious about how big the district has to be, like whether it's got to be a size or a capacity at some number of units per. Is there any info on that yet? No?
So I think that's going to be part of what they give us for guidance. They do say something about a reasonable size. So I think hopefully a reasonable size.
15 units per acre. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
lot.
It is. It's more than we allow now, so
What do we got going in there with Langone's going in, off
so,
of,
so that is 1 per 4,000, so it's about 10 per acre.
yeah, that's pretty cramped.
Yeah. Yeah, at 15 per acre, you're looking at a different style of housing than, you know, townhouse typically.
I just drew a half-mile circle around both train stations. It's not big. It's pretty restricted.
Yeah, it is.
They're kind of telling us where it's got to be. So that's why I'm like, how much of it does it need to be, you know?
Yeah,
It really does seem that it's either the central business district or a new district around North Wilmington. Which it may be easier to do the central business district, but North Wilmington, because North Wilmington, I think, is going to be a little bit more of a discussion because it does have a history of you know, trying to do something, you know, being met with opposition. It's a more recent history of, you know, appeals from the residents. The 40B was appealed. The Conservation Commission's decision on the 40B last month was appealed by residents. So it's a little bit of a an area that's a little bit more up in the air maybe, but definitely needs some planning. So
yeah,
something to think about.
yeah.
Well, the
So
40
if-
feet at Winton Metro, that's across the street from the train station now. That was a fairly dense, that's an apartment complex, but it's still multifamily. It was a 40B, I think, when it was done in, that was the old salt, diamond salt, crystal salt. something
Yeah,
salt.
diamond salt, yeah.
I think there's 108 apartments. I don't
How,
know
Right.
how many.
how far away is that one on Main Street that we did with Welch there?
That's
Too far.
down, probably a half a mile, maybe a
Okay.
little more.
Yeah, it's
So that would have qualified, right?
Possibly.
yeah, that one's a little far out. Half a mile goes down to where Lowell Street kind of splits off.
What's off? Okay.
It's not far.
It's not far from there. Cross streets behind all that.
Okay. Anybody questions?
No.
Hold on one
Happy
second.
to,
All
happy
right,
to talk about this a bit more in the future.
Sean, you're in charge of the committee for this. So.
We could put Angela in charge of it. She's the newbie.
Well, you know, I was going to put you in charge since you work for housing, don't you?
I
So,
do, but so does Angela.
I'll defer to
Change is not
Angela.
that easy.
so the only other thing I wanted to go over is what's this bridge in Butters Row, which I was a little confused. I get at my age. So are we doing the actual bridge at Butters Row? I won't have to beat my horn anymore to go
That's
up
right.
Butters Row?
It's time to get rid of our 1-lane bridge.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, not quite yet. So this is just the 25% design.
Oh, jeez.
Another
So-
10 years.
Well, it's programmed for I think it's 2020. They're going to couple it with the reconstruction of Main Street, which is programmed for 24, I think. Because they'll be doing that intersection of Cross Street and Butters. They'll be signalizing that intersection and realigning it with
So
the
when they redo Main Street, are they redoing the bridge as you go towards Town Park?
Yes, that one too.
Yeah, that bridge is bad.
Yep. So they'll be doing those bridges and Main Street. And
Good.
so this is the 25% design. We're trying to get a hold of an electronic version so we can put it in a Dropbox and send out the link to you guys.
Okay.
And MassDOT is,
So I'll be retired by then, enjoying my new pool by then, so I won't have to drive, so that'll be good.
Special permit denied, Mike.
I don't think I'm in a groundwater district, so I'm okay.
Try to get a
I got
pool and
plenty
see
of
what
room, so.
Hey, has anyone thought about actually trying to raise some money by selling the demo to the residents that live nearby the by the bridge?
I don't think so, but you should
think we
propose
should.
it.
I think it's
We're getting bad here.
crazy
Anybody
not to.
on this
So
call?
if they blow it up, you could sell tickets, like, you know.
That
with-
bridge was always one of my pet peeves, the fact that you could cut off part of the town, not to have a cut through. The rest of the town is a cut through for crying out loud, so.
Well, I was telling, I moved here in 1981. And in 1981, the Lake Street Bridge was a single pass bridge like
Oh,
Butter
right.
Hill. And it took them like 3 years, I think. Yeah, they started the planning in 81. I think it was 83 before it finished.
Yeah, I was supposed to have the big loop. Never happened, so.
Well, got
All
some
right.
loop.
Sounds good. So when do I have the joint meeting with the finance committees coming up? When is that?
The 16th.
Oh, I better put that on my calendar. Cheryl, you better send me a text. Make sure I remember.
Please put it on your calendars.
Is it
And
gonna be Zoom or in person?
it'll be Zoom.
Oh, that's gonna be tough.
We're
Yeah,
going to have a Zoom with the finance committee. They're going to have the public call in. So it won't be, a million people on Zoom. It'll you guys, the finance committee, and the petitioners. And then how we sort of leave that meeting and go to room 9. We're going to have another Zoom session set up so that we leave the main Zoom session and go to another Zoom.
Oh, that sounds computer complicated. I don't know.
I know.
Gotta make sure I know
Well-
what I'm doing.
We'll help each other through it.
so that's
Oh,
Tuesday, March 16th?
Yes,
Okay.
7 o'clock.
Guess who's got a calendar open right now?
We'll see you then.
Wait, 7 o'clock, not 7:30?
7
7
o'clock.
o'clock. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I can't go.
Well, it's the same night of planning board meeting at least, it's not like Thursday, which would really throw me.
It'll be fun.
Anything else?
That's it.
Anything coming up?
Always.
So how
All
many
right.
zoning articles are there this year? Not for,
We have
Joint meeting.
6,
Awesome.
6 zoning and 6 surplus of town-owned land. Something like that. I can't even remember. I was just looking at it, but I can't remember.
that's fine. Just send us an email.
Actually, I think we have 6 petition zoning and 4 zoning. So 10 total. And then we have 6 requests for town-owned land.
All right.
Quite a bit to cover, but we'll zoom through it. Get it, Zoom? All right.
Yeah.
Bad.
All right. Take a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All right, everybody. Get vaccinated. Keep moving ahead.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
All right. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.